So why don't you want any kids? Yeah, I mean, just take a look around, right?
I think one of the worst reasons to have a child is because you're bored.
Why are you trying to like coerce me into something that I just got done saying I don't want?
It was if I wanted kids. And if I didn't, then I wouldn't be the right candidate for the job.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about DINKs, double income, no children, and why people are choosing to keep money in their pocket versus paying thousands for kinder care. Let's get into the video. No, actually, the older I get, the worse it sounds. You don't want to leave it behind a legacy? Me? No. Also, what kind of legacy are your parents leaving behind? What are my parents leaving behind? Like, what is this legacy that people keep talking about? What are your children going to do? Unless you already have a legacy that you need to maintain, like, cool. Like, are you from a famous family? Are you like a Kennedy? What legacy are you leaving behind? So just be honest with yourself. It's really funny when people say, oh, you're missing out on having children. Like, I understand. Children are absolutely wonderful. They bring, their bundles of joy. In my heart of hearts, I know I am not patient enough to put up with my own child, let alone have to go to a playground and listen to screaming all day. Like, this is one of my probably top 10 reasons why I would never have a child. Again, they do not stay like this, right? Children don't stay rambunctious little things forever. Parents, let me know, is your grown adult child still like this? I don't know, maybe they're still throwing tantrums. That's not great, but at some point, right, your child and you both grow together, right? You are actually growing up in front of your own children, right? As much as they are growing in front of you.
Okay, to my child-free brigade. When did you know that you didn't want to be a parent? Did you always know? Did it come later in life? Like, what happened? Because I always knew, and I didn't know why I always knew until I was in therapy and we discovered that the feeling of being trapped in my own life is like a very real fear. Dealing with the reality that, like, if I wanted to go on a trip, I have to like consider kid stuff, or like if I want to go out to eat, I have to consider what's their bedtime. Would they come? Would they not come? If they don't come, who's taking care of like, do I live close to family? If I don't, then who's going to take, like, no. I don't want to think about that. And I know that people who are like, but you won't know love life. Shut up. Shut up. When I first met my nephew, I was like, yeah, no, I like for sure get it. And I for sure love that he goes home with someone else. And even if I never experience that love, okay, there's a lot of things I won't experience in this life, and that won't make my life less full. So,
I already raised my parents. I've done my work. That's really sad when you're a child and you have to raise your own parents, or when you become parentified and have to raise your siblings. That's a lot of the reasons too that I've seen is you were parentified as a child. And you're like, why would I be a parent in my adulthood? Always. As a kid, I didn't even like other kids. That was me. I didn't like other kids either. Never once have I thought, I wish I had a child in any situation, good or bad. And also, I never had like a baby doll, right? Like a lot of girls had baby dolls. I didn't really care for them. I didn't want to take care of a baby doll. I just wanted to play with my little brats, Barbies, and pretend that they had, if any of you guys know, like the My Scene videos where they're teenagers. I thought they were adults at the time, where they're teenagers and they're living like these lavish, fashionable lifestyles. That's what I always pretended for my dolls.
I feel this is a sign that like we should really start seriously considering kids around here. We live in a 3-bedroom house. Okay, Davis and I have the bedroom that we share, and then one of the spare bedrooms we've turned into like his office / closet. We call it his room. And now I've turned our sunroom into my room, which is just like my coffee and craft room. Like we're out of touch. We need a child.
So the caption here says, Dink, life is getting boring, but I love it here. Even if it is boring, I think one of the worst reasons to have a child is because you're bored. So you're bored and you're gonna bring someone into this world right? Again, your children are strangers to you. Some of y'all don't even get along with your parents. What makes you think you might get along with your child that you bring into this world? Do not, please, for the love of all things holy, do not bring a child in if you are bored. But as she said, they have their own like their rooms, like craft and coffee room, or a game room. Being a dink is probably one of the most modern concepts that we have, that I don't know, did they do the dink lifestyle back in the day? And by back in the day, I mean literally any period of time before like 2010, because I feel like this is a relatively new concept. It could either be just a new concept or it's now just gaining popularity, right? There's always like, oh, you know, the joke of the rich aunt because she has no children, but typically she doesn't have a spouse either. I don't know, but are you guys living a double income, no kids lifestyle? Let me know your thoughts in the comments about what you want to do. Why would you want to ruin such a beautiful setup? Babies are joyful, y'all. It is okay to be child free. Get a puppy, enjoy the freedom. To be honest, I don't even want a dog because you know what happens at the end of their life? It's just depression. And I've already gone through that. I don't even think I can handle having a pet because that's just too much and too painful on the heart to have a pet, to be honest. So my heart goes out to anyone who lost their baby recently.
What are your like dumb reasons for not wanting to have kids? I know we all have like good reasons, but what are the silly ones? I will share a couple of mine. Number one is I love girl dinner. I love it. I live for it. A couple nights a week, you'll find me in my kitchen, scavenging like a raccoon, eating like half a bean burrito, a handful of Cheez-Its, a dill pickle, and I'm thriving. I'm having the best time. And when you have children, you have to like cook real dinners and you have to like make real nutritious food every night because your children are growing and they need real food. And that sounds awful to me. My other silly reason is you can't choose who your children are friends with, and whoever your children end up being friends with, you kind of have to hang out with that kid's parents. And I live in the South, and there's like a lot of weirdos out here, and like I don't want to spend every Saturday sitting at the soccer field next to Tara, who thinks that seed oils are making the frogs gay. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that.
I hate sticky anything. Like, I will get the screaming and the noise. I get so overstimulated. That's another thing. Having children is very overstimulating. Women are always like, I'm out. Don't touch me. I've been touched out. I can't imagine, right? Like, having your children always want to grab you. Like, I understand they're children. They need to be cared for. But it would just bother me so much. Or you can't even go to the bathroom alone. Like, oh, can you watch the child so I can take a shower? No.
So why don't you want any kids? Yeah, I mean, just take a look around, right? We know they're inheriting a dying planet. We don't even know if they'll have access to clean drinking water in 50 years. We don't even know if they'll have access to healthcare in 10. I don't want to have to worry about them getting shot at school. I care about my health and my body too much to put myself through pregnancy, especially in America. I don't think I would need.
And if you ever heard of the girl with the list, she just lists off all of these really terrible reasons to not have children, and most of them are based off of the cruelty of biology that goes to your body. Like, a lot of the women that I've seen that she stitches from TikTok, right? And it's like, oh, well, this is the reason why I'm not gonna have children. Like, for example, you could lose all of your teeth. I didn't know that was a thing. That's rare. Thank goodness it's rare, but unfortunately it still does happen. You can get all sorts of tearing everywhere. And for some women, it's also just a little bit more vain, right? You don't want to get fatter. Now, for someone like me, I've been fat my whole life. If I were to have a baby, I would get fatter, and there's no going down from there. So I just to keep me at a healthy fat level, no children for me. And that's on vanity. Again, with healthcare, I believe the women in the US are more likely than any other Western nation, and I'm gonna try to fact check myself, to die in childbirth. What? Why are we dying in childbirth in the 21st century? That's scary.
Meet my own personal goals with the expense of having a child. Also, just like imagine having a child with social media. Like, imagine you have a boy, he's for sure gonna get red pilled. And then if you have a girl, I mean, statistically, it's very likely that they'll get assaulted. So why? Yeah, I travel a lot, so.
I mean, that's what I say too. I love traveling. There's no way having a child and traveling. Like, right now I'm in Prague in like a shared bathroom situation, but it's a hotel room. But I share a bathroom with people. Like, that is really not conducive to having children and traveling on a full-time basis, right? I've been traveling for months now. Having a child would make this infinitely more difficult, unless I had like a nanny to help me. But even then, I feel like even with a nanny, it would be very difficult to do this lifestyle. I think those are valid reasons. The world is getting a little bit sketchier as well. Let's not pretend like it isn't. Am I happy I was born in the 90s when it was, I feel like, most optimistic times, last optimistic times before that one event that occurred in 2001? I guess. It was nice while it lasted. I want my life to be all about me. I actually usually do say all of this. What about, I just don't like kids? Because people will think you're an evil person if you don't like children, obviously. I mean, kids are a little bit dirty, so I don't know why people aren't more on this train. It's okay. They're cute, though. They're cute sometimes.
This is a genuine question for all DINK couples. Please don't judge me, but tell me if I'm wrong for this. So if you don't know, DINK is a dual income, no kid couple.
All right, I am a single income, no kid person.
And I've been in this type of relationship for the last 5 years, and everybody else around me has been having kids, getting married, doing lots of great milestones. We've always turned up for people. We've always bought people's presents. And when people started having kids, it's baby shower, gender reveal, all these different things that are going on. We turn up with a smile, with presents all the time. And we've recently had our first milestone, which was getting engaged. And people with kids really did not turn out for us the same way that we've been turning up for them in the last 5 years. And I just want to know
And I think this is a very common thing. I had a whole video on how your single friends hate you, right? Because once you do become a couple, and she's referring now to couples with children, but we're going to say the broad general couple. When people become a couple, they do expect you to come out for their engagement parties, their weddings, stuff like that. Whereas single people don't have anything to really celebrate aside from their birthday, graduating, other achievements that they may have accomplished. Because, and I don't know if, if you're a couple and you treat your single friends like this, I don't think you're doing this out of being malicious whatsoever, but it's just because you see being married maybe as more of an accomplishment in life progression, right? It's starting a true new chapter. Having a baby is definitely starting a new chapter. That's a pretty important chapter. So for her to notice this with being a child-free couple, right, a dink, and her friends, right, because once you start having babies, you can have a baby shower and then you can have a baby sprinkle, right? Baby shower is like the bigger party because it's your firstborn. Like that is the most exciting thing, right? And then baby sprinkle is when you're having your second, third. Maybe we need to cut it off at the third, but you can still have baby sprinkles after your fourth baby, I'm pretty sure. And then there's kids' birthday parties. I've been to a lot of children's birthday parties. Your birthday party, which I don't think you really do, you kind of make it about the child sometimes. Although make it about yourself, it's your birthday. You're important too. Parents, please. But yeah, I think we just need to be a little bit more community based, right? Because people with children will kind of neglect their friends without children. Married couples might neglect their friends who don't have anyone in their life and they're just, single and alone. It's okay. It's okay. Don't cry for all of us, okay? Have you noticed that you've ever done something like that? Completely agree. The same people saying in the comments, oh, they're too busy with kids, probably the same people that complain their friends don't bother. Think here, 14 years of supporting everyone else's milestones, bought our first property, no cards, nothing. We literally now have no friends. That's really sad, actually, with no support. You need to find better friends. I guess they have each other. The truth is, once people start having children, you're never going to have the same effort in friendships, and that's okay. Right, it's okay, but also you don't have to be okay with it, and you might have to have the conversation with your friend, or just understand your bond isn't as tight now, right? Because they have their family.
Because you see, and you know how small towns are, you're supposed to get married when you get out of high school and have a brood of children and keep your mouth shut, And I didn't do any of those things. They still haven't figured me out.
I can't even believe that Janis Joplin, died before I did. I guess, right? I'm 28 now. She died, I want to say, at 26 or 27, right? 27 Club, where the most talented, skilled people die before they really are due to die. But for her to be talking about, oh, it's just the traditional life, right? I guess she was living a non-traditional lifestyle as a rock star. If she was able to live a little bit longer, maybe, who knows, maybe she would have found a spouse and, lived the dink lifestyle as well. But this concept does feel so new in the fact that it was quite taboo for her to really talk about not wanting to have children, right? This is when the nuclear family back in I want to say the 60s, 70s. I mean, really, the nuclear family is pretty popular. And it would be popular if we didn't have things like inflation, right? Inflation of our expenses. If we had also inflation of our wages, we wouldn't be having this problem. I really don't think, and let me know if you think I'm wrong, but I think the main reason why people are wanting to not have children and just be with their spouse and live a lifestyle like this is you can't afford to have children, but you can afford to feed and clothe and house you and your spouse, and then you're gonna have leftover money to do stuff, to save for retirement, to go on travel journeys, to go on trips, to buy that cabin in the woods that you've always wanted to have, that you probably wouldn't be able to have because you chose to have children. There's nothing wrong with choosing to have children. They are wonderful, right? We need children in our society, right, to grow into adults to take care of us when we're older. It's kind of like a little pyramid scheme. It kind of is, okay? Robots aren't going to be able to take care of us just yet. And of course, now it's the autonomy probably of women is one of my theories as well, because women, I don't believe we're really able to have much autonomy over themselves. People are like, well, women were able to have bank accounts. they were with like the sign off of their husband, their father, right? Some man that was able to sign off on them. So I don't know, like, what do you think is the reason why more people are choosing to become double income, no kids, be child free as a married couple?
People like to talk a lot on this app about why they're not having kids, and there are some really great reasons, I'm not gonna lie. Mine is infinitely more simple. My junior year of college, I took a class which was biology for future teachers. I was not a future teacher, I was a theater major though, so I needed something really easy. And our professor, Professor Megan, told us something that has never left me. She told us and said, do you know why they call it the miracle of childbirth? To which most people said, oh, it's because, you know, you get a baby out of it and it's a little miracle. Wrong. Apparently the miracle is that you, as the mother, don't die. Yeah, so never forgot that one.
That's awful. I mean, I believe it. Again, why are we dying in childbirth in the 21st century? But back in the day, right, no one was washing their hands, so all the mothers were dying. Who was the man who's like, hey, can we wash our hands in between births? Wash our hands while we're treating patients, and then he got shunned or something medically. Who is that man? Let me try to find him. Childbirth really is a miracle. If you have ever given birth, kudos to you for still being here. I'm very happy. I do know someone who is a nurse, mind you, too, close friend of mine, and she almost died with her first child. She lost a lot of blood. People can be doing everything right as well in the hospital, and you still have a chance. It's really it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. But then of course she went on to have a second child. That part I don't understand, but maybe it's my child-free brain not understanding what it's like having, you know, the mother brain wanting to have another child. So good for you. There's a lot of stories I have where women almost during childbirth, or they're like, yeah, if you have another one, there's a higher risk of you just harming yourself. And they're like, whatever, I want to grow my family. And good for you. Good for you. I hope in another life I'm just like y'all. I confidently say I'm just too selfish, and it stops the conversation immediately. Some of us are a little too selfish, right? I think both things are selfish. It's selfish to have children, it's selfish to not have children. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I'm horrified of childbirth. The whole process from start to end sounds like literal torture. The girl with the list would agree with you as well. I'm convinced they call it postpartum depression because calling it PTSD would make people think a little bit more, right? We do need more people. Again, I think it's a pyramid scheme, right? We need more children to prop us up. Who's gonna pay for my social security? My generation's not having kids. Where is my social security gonna be coming from?
Let me tell y'all that I don't have children without telling you I don't have children. Last week, my husband and I went on a double date with our friends and their sweet little baby. They turned 1 in March. They have like this fiery red hair. It's like the cutest little baby ever. He was like smiling, talking to everyone in the restaurant. So well behaved. If I could have a child that acts like that one day, I would be honored. Not the point. Regardless, we're like gawking over how cute the baby is and how well behaved he is. And mama is like petting his head. It was like, oh yeah, he's great. But like, you know, like rubbing his little head. And she's like, oh, and he had a blowout last week at daycare. And I was like, interesting. Like, can't believe they do that these days for children, but like, whatever. I know daycare is expensive. You might as well get their hair done while you're there. Literally what I was thinking. And I was like, oh, that's odd. And she's like, odd. And then I immediately realized that she was like clocking what I was saying. And she was like, Anna, he pooped. Like, he pooped so much that he had to change clothes. And I was like, I literally thought they were offering like child blowouts at daycare these days, like that you get at Dry Bar.
Daycare is expensive, might as well get your hair done. Took me out. One time a coworker was telling me about their sick baby and I asked, what did the vet say? There's like a lot of discourse online, like made up discourse, none of this is real, right? Where people get upset with others for saying like, oh, my dog is my baby, my cat is my baby. They're like, it's not a real baby. When I had my dog, I used to think it was a baby. Then I had my real baby and I get mad at my dog and I don't want him around. I'm like, oh my goodness. Meanwhile, my mom's like, this is your brother. Huh? The dog is my brother? My parents, because I'm an only child, they would always be like, the dog is your brother. You're both my babies. We love you equally. What? So I don't know if anyone else is an only child and had to deal with that, but very obnoxious.
Anytime that I post that I don't want kids, or like yesterday when I posted that I'm not looking to date someone who has kids, people with kids really want to make a point that I should date people with kids. And it's strange to me that, like, I know that about myself. I know that I don't want them. I know that that's not a part of my whatever life path. And yet, inevitably, People will show up to like defend themselves because they have kids, I guess. Selling points of like, I never thought I would until I did, and you don't know what you're missing out on, and if you gave it a try, why are you trying to like coerce me into something that I just got done saying I don't want? It's fucking weird.
A lot of people also don't really respect your decision because they don't understand it. I was talking about earlier, and I don't know if you've already seen it or not, but I was talking about how women who had a near-death experience in childbirth will still go on to have another child. So those, I feel like those are the people who are really trying to convince you like, hey, being a mother is so great that I would go through the possibility of not being here again just to be a mother to someone else. For me, that I just never was able to understand it. And those I do think should be the mothers, right? Although the logic there is a little bit scary, because what if you just have your one child that you had is just with their father. Not that being a single parent is bad, it's just it was really nice when you were also there, right? It was just nice to have two parents, right? But trying to convince someone to have children, like, oh, I didn't know until I had it. If you are on the fence, you really should not have children until you are on the other side of, yes, I want to have children. Because what if you don't like your child? That for me would be very terrifying. You don't like being a parent. There's a lot of people who love their children but don't like being parents. Being a parent, you don't get sleep. Some people just don't like you, I guess. I don't know. You have to deal with other parents once your children get to a different stage in life, right? When they're in the schooling system. Your body gets wrecked a little bit. I think even dads gain sympathetic weight. So everyone's getting fat during the pregnancy process, whatever. But if you're a single parent, I think you should probably date other single parents or people who do actually want children, because they can sympathize with you and understand you better. That's just a better person for you. Not someone who's like, oh my God, your kid's here. Like, isn't that sad? That would be really depressing. And you should always put your child above your new partner any day of the week, right? That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think about that? As a gay man and educator who works with a lot of conservative women, I genuinely believe that the majority of heterosexual married couples follow the pattern, get married, buy a house, have kids because they thought this is what they're supposed to do instead of what they actually wanted to do. Their politics and attitudes towards everyone else is the result of bitterness that others lived their lives without burdens they chose. That is very sad when you feel pressured into doing something that you actually do not want to do. I don't know where you fall on the political spectrum, but a lot of people no matter who you are, do things that you don't want to do, that you don't feel like you should do in your heart of hearts. It's not really just religious people, although you might see it might be more prevalent in a religious community because they're born into it and they are taught a certain way, but we're all taught a certain way, whether or not we have religion. And you're doing stuff that you don't really want to do. Now, this one is a little bit more concrete because you get married, buy a house, have children, do that whole rigmarole. And I know some religious women, at least online stories, where they're like, if I really had to choose, I wouldn't have done that. My friend's grandma, she was talking about, yeah, honestly, I wouldn't have, she said to her children, honestly, if I had the choice that you girls have today, I wouldn't have had kids. I wouldn't have, and I would have been a lot happier. Which I guess is kind of a sting to hear from your mom or even your grandma, but I think that's kind of poignant or kind of accurate for a lot of women of the time, for a good chunk of women. I hope it's not as common because that would just be very depressing, but some people do get better from it. Thankfully, she's a very loving person, but she didn't want to have children, right? It was sort of forced upon her by her religion, essentially.
So I just had an interview for a nanny job, and one of the questions that the family asked me was if I wanted kids. And if I didn't, then I wouldn't be the right candidate for the job. And they basically said, if you don't like kids, then how on earth do you like your job? And it just got me thinking that I believe there might be a misconception about the people that would like to be child-free. I love my job. I've been a nanny for 9 years. I adore kids. They are so precious. But my job has also shown me how difficult it is to be a parent and how time-consuming it is. And it's more so the lifestyle that I think my husband and I are a little turned off by, because we really like our freedom. We like a very chill, relaxed type of life. And I don't think raising a kid really fits into the type of life that we want to live.
Hey, I don't think they're allowed to ask that. they weren't allowed to ask a lot of questions that they asked me. So much for worker protections, right? I feel like I could either work with children in my career or be a mom. I don't have the emotional capacity to be both. That is me. I definitely have more of a capacity to have a career versus be a mom. When you're a mom, people expect a lot from you and you get no days off. You can't just be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Unless you're a deadbeat, but I kind of understand deadbeats a little bit more now. Not saying it's right, but I do understand you get overwhelmed. I was watching this one video, and if I can remember it, I'll show the video on the screen. It's here on YouTube, and I watched it a couple years ago. But this one woman, it's theorized that she staged her own kidnapping because she just could not take her life. And it was based off of this book of how to go missing, and this was, you know, way back in the day when it was a lot easier to go missing, right? You just don't show up. Maybe find a dead person's social security number and then use theirs and go to a different state. I wonder if there were a lot of people, even women, right, mothers, who did something like that because the stress of being a mom, and back in the day, I don't think they were really allowed to not be mothers. Contraception wasn't as prevalent, or if it was there, right, I think they used to use animal intestines as a condom, so I don't know, but that's just a theory. Maybe people tried to disappear themselves. I don't know if I would be one of those people, but I would not have patience. For children, unfortunately. Which also brings me into, if you're a teacher and you have children, you have the patience of a literal saint. Good for you. All of my teachers had children, the men and the women. Patience of a saint. Good for y'all. So what do you guys think about the double income, no kids lifestyle? Is it just a fad due to our modern age? Or is it something that people would have done if they knew it was an option for them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and I'll see you in the next one. But before you go, I think you'll like this video on why your single friends hate you. Essentially, do you have accomplishments that you want to celebrate with someone, but they're in a married couple and they're a little too busy to celebrate your new job promotion because they're celebrating their second wedding anniversary and they don't really care about you? Well, this is a little bit of the complaints that people have. See you in the next one.